welcome. Hi. Thank you so much for joining me again for another work together session. And I'm so honored that you're here. It's so cool. Um, anyway, so the way this works, if you're new to this, is that you bring a project. It can be whatever. It can be, I'm going to work on my painting today, but sometimes I work on organizing my shelf. Sometimes I've had to work on some admin and applying for things and sending things, portfolios and things to people who ask for them. So I have a variety of tasks that I do with these. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't necessarily have to be art related. This is just time to support each other. A lot of us are working alone a lot of the time, and that's kind of standard for me, even when we're not in quarantine. I spend a lot of time alone, and it's nice sometimes to have a little camaraderie, a little companionship. And especially if you have a project that you've been putting off getting done, having this appointment, having this time set aside to work on something can often help us motivate to get something done that we may have been procrastinating on a little bit. So I've been really encouraged by the photos and emails I've been getting from people, people who've cleared out areas in their studio and organized things, people who've worked on different types of painting. It's really exciting to me to see what you're doing. So anyone who wants to share that, you can find me on Instagram. The link to that is in the description box below, and you can send me a direct message, or if it's something you're posting on your own feed, you can just put the little @ symbol, Michelle Taberge, and then I will see it. So let me explain how this works. There is a schedule in the description box below. And what you're going to do is set an intention right now, and it's really great if you can write it down in the comments. What do you want to get done? Feel how you'll feel when it gets accomplished. What would make you feel really happy and proud and delighted to get done today? And just feel what that will feel like in your body, in your soul, in your heart, in your mind. What would that feel if you got it done? Like, I would be so excited to get a row of arcs done around this. So we'll see. It takes me a long time, but we'll see. Doesn't matter. Whatever I get done is great. I'm not attached to a specific outcome, but that would feel great if I could get a whole row done. And then we'll take a little break in the middle to get up, stretch, use the restroom, have a drink of water or tea or whatever you like as your working beverage of choice, and check in with people. Sometimes you get a little distracted, and so sometimes having that break kind of brings you back in, like, oh, everyone's, here, and I am committed, and I'm going to recommit. So it's okay. Give yourself a break. Just be gentle and loving with yourself. That, I've found, is the most motivating thing. When we have negative self-talk and blame ourselves for not getting things done, or criticize ourselves for having procrastinated in the past, it's not a motivator. A motivator is feeling good and giving yourself credit for what you have done rather than focusing on what you haven't. So I set a timer, and I'm set up a little differently. I don't think you're going to see it from here. I'm going to check in, so I'm logged in here. So I will check in. Laura's here. Hey! Oh, great. You said that you're missing your Monday night artist group that you usually meet with, so this is hopefully a nice, maybe not quite a substitute, but just something else to connect with other artists at the same time. So I'm super glad you're here. And if you want to share what you're going to work on. And hi, Martin. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that double A sound, so correct me if I got that wrong. So glad to have you here. So again, anyone who's just joining, if you feel comfortable, if you feel more private online, that's totally fine, obviously. But if you feel comfortable, I absolutely love hearing what you're working on and where you're from. And is this your first work together session, or have you done some of the other ones? What's exciting is many of you will be watching this on the replay. I get emails all the time. People did the replay and got work done. And I now have been searching for other people who do them, because I find it's not as effective when I want to have someone to work with, outside of this time that I have with you guys every week. I've been looking for other people who are doing this, and there are a lot of people who do it just for studying, and they might play some kind of like ambient music, and then they're in front of their computer. I don't know. It didn't have the same resonance for me, but anyway, I don't think it works for me to watch myself work to get work done. It's too weird and meta, and I don't know. Anyway, so let's get started. It's a Dutch name, and it's quite difficult to pronounce for other non-Dutch people. Darn. Okay, I want to learn it, but I love languages, and I spent some time. I used to live in Strasbourg, France, and I went on a bike tour of the Netherlands, which was super cool. And I think I learned only one word, and I'm not sure because it's been 30 years, but it was 21. I think that means 21, and maybe that's how old I was. I don't know why I learned that number. Anyway. Okay. Martin, like that. Did I get it? Martin. Okay, yay, thank you. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to put the timer on, and we will work together for 25 minutes and then take our break. Oh, by the way, I got the brush. I think I mentioned last week that I was having trouble with the brushes I had getting the arcs of this dimension. There's a lot of interaction between the brush and the paint and the surface that is very specific, and I ordered another brush, so I'm super excited. I'll try to remember to put a link to these brushes just in case people are interested. I get a lot of questions about the materials I use. So this is a Winsor & Newton Cotman 111 round, and I got size number 14. It's the biggest. I kind of wish they had a bigger one. Right now the art supply stores are closed where I am, and so I'm not at leisure to go and browse brushes in a store, so I'm just doing my best ordering things online. I gotta go get my paint. By the way, I do tend to like chat a little bit because some people like it, and I think it makes for a more interesting video on the replay. But if you need silence, just turn your volume down, set your own timer, and we will reconvene at the break. Okay, that's our timer. I'm almost done. I'm gonna get this. Gotta get that little edge. Ah, merde. Okay, I have to make that one bigger. It was so beautiful. Before. Okay, well, that'll be that. Okay, my friends, how did you do with your first segment? I am super thirsty. Hang there. I'll be right back. I'm going to get something to sip on. So this is the fun part. Now I get to go back on my computer and say hi to you and see how you're doing. But first, so I don't lose track of the time, I'll set our 5-minute break timer. So you might want to just pause and stretch, especially like me if you were like leaning over, hunched forward. Good to stretch the opposite direction. All right, so Laura, I'm super excited about your cows in the Irish pasture. Thank you so much for sharing that with me on Instagram, what you were working on. The faces, oh my gosh, faces on people are the hard part too, aren't they? Well, good luck with that. I hope it's coming along nicely. And we've got Dake, hi. Oh, welcome, first time here. If you want to share what you're working on, we'd love to hear. Carlos, cooking dinner. Yay! That's a creative pursuit. I have to say, for me, cooking is just another outlet for my creativity. I don't know about you guys, but I've been cooking a long time and I do enjoy it so much. And it's become more and more like my painting process where I have this sort of intuitive feel, you know, for how much of each spice. And it's really funny. Sometimes I read a recipe. I made some aduki bean hummus this week and it said 2 cloves of garlic. I'm like, that's going to be too garlicky. And I overrode that instinct. I know, and it was too garlicky. Anyway, that's cool, Carlos, that you're making dinner. I wonder what you're making. Oh, that's so funny. You heard the truck. I know, as it turns out. So I think I'm going to keep this Tuesday, 10:30, just for simplicity's sake, so you know and you can mark it in your calendar. I was switching it around, and a lot of that had to do with I'm sharing the space with 2 other artists. They're a couple, so they come in together. So I've been coordinating around their schedules because we're doing social distancing and sanitizing all the surfaces in between, even though we have separate spaces. It just feels more comfortable to us and like the right thing for us to do here. So all that said is I didn't know from week to week what my schedule is, but they're never here Tuesday morning, so I can always commit to doing this 10:30 Tuesday with you guys. So mark your calendar. Let's just make this a regular thing. If you can come, that's great. Anyway, let's see. Any new comments? We got 2 more minutes of our break. CJ! Oh, I'm glad you made it! Yay! So happy to have you here. Okay. Well, I don't know what else to say. Sorry, I'm supposed to be entertaining, aren't I? I can tell you about mixing my paint here. So I'm using this combination of gloss medium, a little bit of airbrush medium, some interference color, and some fluid acrylic. And I wanted these further out arcs to become more transparent, so I added a lot more of the gloss medium this time. But I'm realizing I have to mix it up regularly. And I know people always say don't mix with a brush. It's not the best because it does. Here's the thing with acrylics. The acrylics can gather in the ferrule, this metal part, the acrylic medium itself, and it kind of gets like glue and it gets very hard here. And if you've watched my video on cleaning brushes, or my video, there's like a basic standard practice how to clean your brushes after every painting session. And then there's another video that talks about more about those really dry, crusty brushes. So the ones that, like, if you, even though you're really carefully washing them every painting session, they get very hard and dried, and like the bottom part gets almost glued together, like the first, maybe 2 centimeters or something. So anyway, I have those videos, you can check them out, but that is why people suggest not mixing with a brush, because it does kind of damage a brush. But this is liquid paint, and using other tools doesn't mix it as well. It's sort of like, back to our cooking topic, when you're baking and you are whisking ingredients versus stirring them with a spoon, okay? So the brush acts, for me, in this context, with this very liquid paint with all these different things, especially the interference particles, because they have a different weight from the acrylic polymer and from the pigment particles, and so the suspension, they tend to sink to the bottom of the suspension, so I don't have the same ratio unless I'm stirring regularly. I hope that made sense. Anyway, so even though you will often, and when I was teaching, I would ask people not to mix with a brush, that was because we were using heavy body paint working on a palette. Now I'm mixing color in a bowl, and I'm just dedicating certain brushes that it's okay for me to whisk with them, so to speak. So I'm whisking my paint, and that also does create a little bit of air bubbles, and so usually I like to let it rest for a minute or two. So our timer's up. I need to set the timer for you guys to start again. Probably you've already started, but let me set our timer, another 25 minutes, which means because I gabbed for a couple extra minutes, we'll probably go slightly over time. That's okay by me, if it's okay by you. And I did notice I only got a quarter of the way through this, so I guess to do a complete revolution, not including my setup time and color mixing time, is 4 hours. So unless I go after this further painting, I will not get all the way around today. Definitely not during our session of time together, and I have some other things to attend to, so I might stay an extra half hour. If anyone else wants to, let me know in the comments, because I have some admin stuff on my computer to do, and it'll be good to take a break, because again, this is for the body to be hunched over like this for long periods of time is not that great, so I tend to take breaks. I'm also sitting on my heels and sitting on my ankles and stuff, so it's not like the most comfortable. It's not like sitting in a chair with the upright, that's great ergonomics. This is not the best ergonomics, but the painting requires that I do this, so I just am careful, mindful of taking good care of myself, and not I want to be painting when I'm 90. I'm planning on living, you guys, till at least 90. So it would be hilarious if I still had this YouTube channel at that point. That would be funny, because already I've had this channel for 10 years. I have to say it's a little hard on the ego, because I've seen myself age on video. And I'm at that point in my life, I don't know if anyone else is around this age, like 50-ish, where you start to really see the change in your face. And you're just sort of like, okay then, I guess this is what it's gonna be. It's not getting any, I'm not getting any younger, and you just, you come to accept it, and gosh, I'm so grateful to be alive and to feel well and to be healthy. And, to me, beauty can happen at any age, and I feel like there are just different seasons of our life. But it is an adjustment because you're different than you looked before. And I have seen that happen. If you look at my YouTube videos from 2009 and you look at how I look now, it's like, oh yeah, she's aged. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Put this over so we can get it in here. Oh wait, I forgot to see if there's anyone else checked in. Okay, so we're good. We're good for comments. I was gonna say, you guys, so this is really good for me because I'm being more mindful because you guys are here and you're watching. And I don't know, I think it's sort of like when I meditate with other people, it's so much easier for me to concentrate and focus for many more hours than it is alone at home. Anyway, so I have evolved some ways of working just during this painting session because this large size arc is, I haven't done them in a while. And so there are some techniques for getting them. And anyway, that's been good. That's been helpful for me. Mindfulness. I'm always talking about it, and it's not because I'm so good at it, it's because I need it. So, anyway, get some more clean water to clean this up. But to give myself credit, I am much more mindful than I was when I started meditating. It's a lot easier. For some people, I think it comes naturally, but not for me. I have a very active Gemini mind. It's my birthday month! Yay! Anyway, that is a type of person who has a very active mind, and so meditation helps me a lot to be able to have periods of tuning out the extraneous. It also helps with directing the thoughts. I don't know if you're, I think all of us have this habit to let our thoughts trail towards a negative direction, and that happens frequently. And so meditation makes you more aware of when you're doing that, and also that it's a choice, and also that how much your thoughts influence how you feel all day long at any given moment. So that's why I'm a huge advocate for meditation, and I have some meditations on this channel. If you're interested, I have done a few. It's not really the focus of this channel. I also have one on a free download on the mindfulartist.com, a meditation download. So if you're looking for meditations specially designed for creative people, or if you're just thinking of getting into meditation, I have like a 5-minute simple meditation introduction. Okay. realize I'm getting out of the frame, and that's gonna make for a really boring picture on the video. So there we go. Okay. I'm back. Let's see. Am I in there now? Yes. Okay. big picture. All right. It's coming along okay. It might be getting close. I only need one more row. This painting might be complete, we'll see. Okay, so timer's about to go off. I'm gonna stop it. So since we already heard the white crowned sparrow before, so I can stay. I didn't hear from anyone that you want to stay, so I might just end it. But if you want to continue one more segment, 25-minute segment, let me know in the comments, because I'll hang in there and keep working. This has been really great. Thank you again so much. And it's helpful when you end a work segment, I think, to stand back, just like I did. I mean, I was literally standing back because it was a painting and you need to do that, but whatever the work is, it's helpful to stand back and just sort of reflect on what you did and what you accomplished for that sense of completion and appreciation for what you did. So, CJ, are you saying you want to stay for another 25-minute segment? I think that's what that yes is. I just saw yes. But maybe you can clarify, because I will set the timer again. If you guys want to work with me, and I will be working on the computer, so it won't be as probably interesting to look at. But again, this whole purpose of these work together videos is to provide you with companionship and company while you're working. And we have a wonderful group, and I really appreciate all of you guys here. Some of you have been coming week after week, and that's been super fun. Okay, so we're gonna do, for anyone who's interested, another 25-minute segment. I need to get off of my poor little ankles, and I'm gonna need to wash my brushes because I'm going to switch gears. So I guess I should take you with me for the sake of the video, not just having a blank screen and no one on it. So, my little yellow clogs on. Okay, Barry's here. Hey, Barry. That's the first time I've seen you comment. All right, let's keep going. Yay, you, me, CJ, and maybe other people. Okay, especially those of you guys on the replay might be powering on. So I'm gonna take this and carefully carry it in this little container over here. And actually I don't want to put it in there because it's all wet underneath, so I'm carrying it over to my table here, and then I'll switch the video camera around so you can see what's been going on. Meanwhile, we probably just have a few more minutes of break time, so I'll just approximate that. All right, welcome to the other side of my studio where the beautiful windows are. And it's an urban, oh, hi, except now I'm out of the light. Oh, right, that's what this, voila. So there I am, now I'm in the light, but it's still kind of dark. We'll dial that light right up there. Okay, so this is the other side of my studio that faces the windows, which gives me really great light. If you've seen my tutorial videos, I'm usually at this table here, and I have the light facing me, and natural light for videos is always the best. those of you who've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings probably know that. Like, it's good to put your computer in front of a window. Anyway, let me grab my brushes. We're gonna wash them. And oh, this is great. Like, I think it's like my cooking show or something. I'm not really sure. Anyway, I got my cart here, and you can see. Can you see my cart? Okay. And here's me. It's a little tricky getting everybody in here. But anyway, this is my cart that I showed you last week that I use as my makeshift sink, since there is no running water in this particular space, and it requires walking all the way around the building, through an alley, and down the alley, and into the doors, and a little ways in the hall. So I just saved buckets from my pouring medium, and I use those for water, and I'll just have like little dishes and my little soap. Where did my soap go? Well, I use this soap. Sometimes I use liquid soap, sometimes I use bar soap, but liquid soap is what here's right now. So just gonna wipe off all the medium. And by the way, I think I have a video on this, but this is a filter that I got at the paint store, and so I keep particles of paint from going in the wastewater. That's how I do that. And here I'm just using like a eco-friendly dish soap to wash my brushes. So I'll do like, I use that cup just for the soaping up portion of it. Since I don't have a sink, I try and do plenty of rinsing, because I find that, there's the timer. So I guess I'm kind of still I mean, I don't know if this is break or work or whatever. I'm just talking to you guys. So if you want to stop your break and get back to whatever you're doing, now's your time. I'll set the timer. But I have to continue to clean these brushes so they don't get dried out. So there's my little cup of soap, rubbing them around in there, and then they will need a lot of rinsing. So I'll have, sometimes I'll have like, actually that'll be a later rinse. So I'll have first rinse. And when I'm painting too, and when I teach painting, I always teach people to have 2 rinse containers by their palette, because you wipe your brush, then you rinse it in the first rinse, which is where a lot of the color and pigment ends up, and then there's a second rinse, so you can get the brush much cleaner and reuse it without having to wash it like this. So. And also, you don't have to change your water as frequently, because you've wiped most of the paint off, then you've gotten the majority of it off in the first rinse, and then the second rinse. So you see, like, for instance, there's a lot of bubbles in here from the soap, and by the time I get to here, it's been pretty well rinsed. Have an old dish towel. By the way, I mean, I talk about this in my brush cleaning video, but when you're drying your brushes, it's best to let them dry flat, because there's glue in the ferrule that holds the bristles in there. That's also why I do not recommend using boiling water to clean brushes. That will just dissolve the glue and shorten the life of the brush. So if you leave it standing up, a lot of water will just collect in the ferrule and start to melt and dissolve the glue. So best practices, and it's not going to hurt anything really bad, it just, the brush might not last as long. So if you want to have brushes to last many years, you can dry them flat. So I'll just have like a towel. I have a little cloth over there that I leave them to dry. And sometimes I do, you know, since I don't have running water, sometimes I will take them to the sink and give them a really good rinse. I might do a third rinse anyways because now this is getting a little bit soapy. Okay, so we'll soapy water in there. Give my hands a little rinse because my hands got sticky from painting. I'm about to go to my keyboard on my computer over there, so I don't want to mess up my computer. So I'm doing another little swishy swish with all the brushes at once, and then I often squeeze the water out just to sort of feel in the brush if there's any remaining paint or soap or residue that I don't want. And then one last. So that was officially 4 rinses. But you know, water is such a precious resource. It's nice to be having little of it so I can be more mindful of how much I use and how I use it and how much is really needed. So I'm not leaving a faucet just running and running and running water. I've used, you know, maybe a couple of liters of water to clean these brushes instead of, I don't know how many liters come out in the faucet at one time, but a lot if you keep it running. So I'm going to roll my little cleaning cart in the sink area back here. And since I'm not painting, I get to take off my apron, Mr. Rogers style. Did anyone watch that show when they were a kid? I don't know, people in Europe probably didn't have it, but it's an American children's program. And Mr. Rogers always started the show off by changing. Okay, shoot, that's not going to go. Hold on a minute. I had the phone plugged in. Sorry, guys. Anyway, Mr. Rogers always changed from his like suit coat into a sweater and his street shoes. His like, I mean, this was old stuff like from the 70s. So in those days, men wore a lot of leather-soled shoes. And then he'd put his like sneakers on and his cardigan, and I loved that. I don't know why. I always think of that when I change clothes for different activities. Okay, so my timer, well, it'll just go off. I'll look over there. Just gonna get back to work here. This is fun. Switch. Oh, Alicia, I just was checking in with the comments. So you were asking if I taught kids or people in general before COVID. Well, I taught in person for many, many years. And I stopped teaching in person though about 5 years ago. So now I just do my YouTube channel. And I did have a class on Blueprint, like one class you could take with me, and they just closed that on they're going out of business. So they closed on May 31st. So anyway, I taught a lot and I love teaching. And so that's why I just like my YouTube channel, because I still get to teach, but doesn't take as much time. I don't have to travel as much as I used to. I just found out one of my deadlines that I had thought was over. Oh, they extended it. Okay, good. So I have more time. Yippee! Okay, that's great. Four images. This is tricky. disconcerting. It's a little crooked. Straighten that out. Okay, so the timer just went off, everybody. So I think this is a good time to end it. Although obviously you can keep working if you're on a roll. I thank you again so much for joining me, and just a reminder, we will be back next week. That's Tuesday, June 16th at 10:30 a.m. And that should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for your comments and stuff. I saw on there, oops, there's my timer. Okay, so I saw Andy, you were saying, talking about that the palette suggestions I gave last week were helpful. Interesting if I could talk about different color palettes in future videos, like a traditional oil style. That would be a really cool video to do, and I could say a lot about that because I did start with a traditional oil style color palette, and I can talk about, yeah, there's a lot to say there, my gosh. And you know, I'm a bit of a blabbermouth. So I will put that on my list of a gazillion videos I want to make. I really think that type of video would be much better, like properly produced, where I could show the colors, where I had someone to film me. I don't know, let me know your thoughts. I'm thinking of just doing a Q&A video soon. I always feel visuals are so helpful, and the visuals are a little tricky right now without having someone to come in and film me. So I want to give the best content and make it as clear and visual as I can, because we're here because we're visual people. We're working in a visual medium. And so I think just a talking head is not as effective, although I can just talk about it. So food for thought. Laura, your cows all have faces now. Terrific. I hope you will be sending me that picture. Thank you, Barry, for saying my videos are great. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it, and it's people like you who make me want to keep doing this. People who appreciate what I'm doing, it just makes me want to do more for you. So it is my joy and my pleasure. Okay, so my friends, have a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in this world, and I hope to see you on the next